Well, welcome back to another Coffee and a Chat. I've been busy today. The weather is not that great, so I've been doing a lot of stuff inside. And yeah, I'm dressed for summer because it's warm inside. It's that time of year where it just doesn't seem to know if it's summer or winter, and it's back and forth every day. I don't know. But I've been busy. But I wanted to take a minute here to stop and share a story with you. If you got a minute or two or 15, we'll see how long it goes. Marvin and I had stopped and saw a friend of ours the other day, and he was talking about how they were talking about bees and how they, they'll soon be, out in full force. And these guys have these fruit trees, and when they're gone, the fruit just falls to the ground. And so he was saying, that, hey, Marvin and I, well, they're gone. We can come get, if any fruit ripens, well, they're gone. We can come get it. So I thoroughly appreciate that. And Marvin was saying how he has to be really careful, because if the fruit starts getting really ripe and falling to the ground, then we end up with hornets and yellow jackets and stuff. And Marvin's allergic to bee stings, so, he's got to be careful. And then this guy was talking about how he doesn't know if he's allergic because he's never, ever been stung. Now, he's got to be our age or so, somewhere nearby. And I can't imagine having gone all these years and never having been stung. Oh, I've been stung. I'm not allergic, praise the Lord, or I'd be dead, but I have been stung. And a memory came back to me when I was a pretty little kid. We went camping for the weekend, and my dad and a friend of his came with us, and they went fishing. They had a little rowboat that they took out, that they rented and took out onto the lake. And so they were fishing, and my mom and my brothers and I were hanging out at the campsite, doing fun camping things. Well, my older brother normally was just a bookworm. He just wanted to sit and read books all the time. He wasn't into doing a lot of activities or getting really physical or anything. Well, we had this little hatchet that my dad had for, putting firewood together. And because we had a campfire that we cooked on and everything. This was pretty rugged camping, on the hard ground. We had a tent, but on the hard ground. I couldn't do that now. I don't know how my mom did it then. But anyway, my brother had taken this hatchet, and he'd gone out just a little ways away from our campsite, within sight of, my mom could see him all the time. And he was just chopping on this old dead log that was laying there. Well, he ended up getting stung. A bee had stung him. It was summer. That's not unusual. And he had swatted at it, and it stung him. And my mom had always told us, if there's a bee around, don't swat at it, because then that'll make it mad and it'll want to sting you. So she doctored up his bee sting and didn't think anything else about it. And we went to bed that night and got up the next morning, and my dad and his friend headed out to the lake like they always did. And my brother got up, got that hatchet, and went back to chopping on that old piece of wood. Now, my mom was just happy that he was actually doing something physical and not just with his nose in a book. And, so he was chopping away. Well, my little brother, who was really little at the time, I can't remember, he got hold of something, and he went over and was banging on that piece of wood too. Well, it wasn't too long, and we heard some hollering taken on, and my mom looked up and was like, oh my goodness. And she's like, Angie, go get in the tent right now and zip it shut. And I look over, my brothers are covered in yellow jackets. I mean, they were on them. And my mom was, running to them to try and get them away, because obviously there was a nest in the dead log, and they cut into it. And, so my mom, I see this cloud of bees get on her too. And then, oh, yeah. And she's yelling at me the whole time, get in the tent and zip it shut. But I wouldn't, I was, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years old. I was going to save my mom and my brothers, so I go running to them. And now I'm covered in yellow jackets. And the thing with the yellow jacket is they can just keep stinging you and stinging you and stinging you. So they would land on us and just be walking around stinging us. They were going in our noses, in our ears, in our mouths. We were getting stung everywhere. I don't even know how many stings that we had. And those bees, no matter how far we got away from that nest, they stayed on us. And so other people in campsites around us started hollering for us to run to the lake, which was within sight. It wasn't very far away. And so we went down to the water, and the bees did start to lighten up, but they still were on us. And so this man was had a bucket, and he was trying to throw water on us, but not get too close because he didn't want to get stung. And so he kept telling my mom, get in the water, get down in the water. And so we went, and it was shallow. We were sitting there, but we would try to get down. And at one point, my mom had said, just go under the water for a minute, hold your breath, and then come back up. So I remember going down under the water and looking up, and my long blonde hair just kind of floating all around me. And I'm looking up, and I can see those bees just circling the water on top of me. And, and couldn't stand her very long, came up and, and got stung a few more times. And so we kept dipping ourselves in this lake until eventually they all left. And there were a few stragglers, and people came in and helped us then. Well, we're hollering, people are hollering for my dad and his friend, because we can see them out on the lake in the boat, for them to come in, because they're like, you guys need to go to a hospital. You need to go in town and get checked. And, and this man was making sure we were breathing, and, and I mean, we were swollen up and we were in pain, but he's making sure we could still breathe and everything. And, and they'd be hollering and waving at my dad and his friend, and my dad and his friend just waved back, oh, what friendly people. And somehow somebody, I think, got in a boat and went out to tell them we were in trouble. And so they came back in and took us down to the hospital. And I remember, I think they gave us adrenaline shots is probably what they did. But they were putting, different kinds of lotion or salve or whatever on our stings to try to ease the pain. They had started counting stings and just gave up, and they kept us there for a while to make sure that nobody was going to have a reaction, which, praise the Lord, none of us did. But we hurt so bad, and it was so late in the day that my dad was like, we'll go home in the morning, but we need to stay tonight because it's just so late, to try to break camp and everything. And we were exhausted. But I remember my skin hurt so bad. And laying in my sleeping bag on that hard ground. Oh, it was a miserable night. I don't know how much we slept. And, the next morning we were up early, and my dad broke camp because we weren't good for anything. And his friend helped him, and they got us all loaded up. And we went back to town and went and saw our doctor, Dr. Shane. And he took care of us for several days till we started getting better. It was a nightmare. For many years, to even hear the buzz of a bee would just, set all of us off and terrify us. And I was thinking about this, when this guy had said how he's never ever been stung before. And I was like, oh, yeah, well, I have. And, that's not the only time I was stung, but that was probably the most traumatic time that I ever got stung. And I was just kind of thinking about this, and, and this thought came to me, because I don't know about you, but I look back on my life and times when I've been rebellious against God. I probably didn't think I was being rebellious against him, but when I disobeyed him, when I did things I knew I wasn't supposed to do, I was being rebellious. And I've made some really foolish choices in life. At the time, it seemed like a good idea. But in hindsight, it wasn't a good idea at all. And I thought about my brother, probably thought, at the time, it seemed like a good idea, fun, just, chopping away at that old wood. But then when he found out what he was chopping into, yeah, it wasn't such a good idea after all. So I thought about that and how we kind of flirt with things we're not supposed to do, or danger, and maybe we don't even realize we're doing it, but I do think we have an idea maybe that we shouldn't be. But when that bee stung him that first day, it's like that was a warning, like a little hint that this is not someplace you should be, and this is not something you should be doing, but we didn't think anything of it. And I've thought about how many times in my life that God's done things to make me aware that what I'm flirting with, that, you know, and engaging in or whatever is not, you know, something I should be doing. And he's allowed me to get that little sting to, you know, to go, now here's what you're looking at, but how I would press on and be more interested in that fleshly desire, okay, than whatever it was, than I was in being obedient to God. So I didn't listen to the warning. And then, oh my goodness, what is that old saying that sin will take you farther than you wanted to go, keep you longer than you wanted to stay, and cost you more than you're willing to pay? I think that's basically how it goes. And, you know, when those bees landed on us, yeah, it was a much bigger price than what any of us had ever considered, you know, that we would be in any kind of danger like that, or what it was going to entail and how long we would suffer for that. And I also, you know, thought about how my mom kept telling me to get in the tent and zip it shut, and then I would be safe and I wouldn't have got stung. But no, I just had to follow the crowd. I had to be with my mom and my brothers. And, you know, I was too little to have very much common sense. I'm still too little to have much common sense. Yeah. But how we sometimes, we see other people and it's like, oh, that is not a good idea. But yet, have you ever kind of been coaxed into it anyway? When we should have known, when we should have been able to see what was going on and know that is not something that we need to be involved in, and yet we run to it. And it made me think about that. So it also made me think about how sometimes we say, oh, I need to learn my lesson for myself. I need to find out for myself, when we should be able to look at what somebody else is going through or has gone through and know that that's enough to tell us it's not something we need to get involved in. So there was a lot of things that it kind of connected with me when I started thinking about this whole situation, and how it just kind of paralleled foolish things I've done in life when it comes to being obedient to God, and I wasn't obedient to him. I'm at a point in life now that maybe I've gotten old enough and smart enough to figure out it's just not worth it. Yeah, I'll go to the tent. You know, the Shekinah glory of God, we talk about that, you know, the manifest presence of God. And the word Shekinah actually means a tent or a covering. And when it's just by itself. And, you know, yeah, that's where I should have gone, was to that tent. God had provided a place of safety, a way of escape for me, but I didn't take it. And so I ended up paying the price, and there's always consequences for our actions. So it made me leery of bees for many, many, many years. And I've been through enough stupid things that I've done in life that I can say that it's made me leery of sin too. I don't want to do foolish things anymore. I don't want to disobey God. I don't want to be more concerned with my flesh than I am with the things of God. I don't want to worry more about what other people think than what God thinks, because that's the other thing. Sometimes I have done stuff because, you know, people were like, oh, what are you, a chicken? Or, oh, you're just too goody-goody or whatever. Or, come on, I don't want to do it alone. Just do it with me, you know. And I've been more concerned about what they thought and making them happy than about being obedient to God. You guys, not only is it okay, but it is wisdom for us to say no, because I know that is not okay with God. I choose to follow God. I choose to follow Jesus Christ, to be obedient to him, to walk in his ways and not my ways. It is not only okay to do that, we need to do that. And with things going on in the world like they are, and the pressures that have already come and the more that are coming, we need to be firm. We need to be strong. We don't even need to have somebody say, run to the tent and zip it shut and protect yourself. We shouldn't even need somebody to say that. We should just know, I'm going to the tent. I'm going to the Lord. I'm going to the rock of my salvation. I am running to Jesus. And I am not going to go in the ways of this world. Because when we go with the ways of this world, there is a cost that we have to pay for that. And it's getting more expensive. And one day there will be a pressure that will be put on people. And if they do not say no to it, it will cost them everything. It'll cost them everything. They will not be born again, saved, going to spend eternity with Jesus Christ. That one choice, that one decision. And if you don't know what I'm talking about the mark of the beast that will come. And it's not that far away. It's a lot closer than what we think. So, yep. It's time to be strong. It's time to shore it up. And we don't need to be hacking on old dead wood. But we need to be moving in the things that are alive in Christ. Yep. That's what I wanted to share with you today. Just old memory. And you know what? I was thinking about it because I'm around bees all the time now when I work in the garden and stuff. And I'm happy to see them because they're there pollinating. And, they're good. They're necessary. I don't have that fear that I once had before because I've grown up. And I've learned that there are smart things we can do to protect ourselves and not do foolish things. So I'm very thankful that I don't live in that fear anymore because, boy, I tell you, it was something. But anyway, that's what I want to share with you today and just give you a little memory of a trauma in my past and how God takes those things and can kind of speak to us and share some truths with us that we might not fully comprehend without them. Because it makes things more alive for me, more real, more understandable. Okay, well, I need to get back to work. And it was nice. Thank you for giving me a little break here. I was ready for it. And it looks like 18 minutes. That's what it took today. All right. I love you guys. You have an awesome day. I will talk to you again real soon. In the meantime, if you want to get hold of me, besides you can leave comments on this video, but besides that, you can go to the description of this video and you can find an email address that you can reach me through as well as a P.O. box. And I would love to hear from you guys. All right? I love you. You have an awesome day. And I'll talk to you real soon.